Hey, what's going on, everybody? Manny here once again. Welcome to DFS Zone, man. I got a brand new video for you, ladies and gentlemen. But before I get started, like always, I appreciate you guys drop a like. And if you're new to the channel, first time here, never ever seen any of my NBA lineup advice videos, the only thing you need to do to be a part of our DFS Zone community here is to become a subscriber down below. So make sure you do subscribe. Make sure you put on your post notifications. This way you do not miss out on any of my lineup advice videos. With that being said, today is Wednesday, January the 16th, 2019, and we have a 8-game slate in the association today. We're going to get right to it like always. I'm going to come right here to the top. I'm going to share with you if there's any top tier or stud plays here that I definitely like today. There's a lot of studs on the slate today. We got Harden, Davis, we got Giannis, we got KD, we got Damian Lillard, Steph Curry, and it goes on and on. It's a lot of good players up here at the top today. The guy that really stands out for me that I will have the most exposure to up here out of the top tier studs is Anthony Davis. I do love his matchup against Golden State today. So I am all over Anthony Davis for certain. So I'm not going to place him here in the power forward spot. You can if you want to on your own screen if you're making your lineups. But Anthony Davis is someone I'm going to have exposure to. I love his price tag, especially on DK. He's only $11,800 on DK. You only need 58. This price tag here on Fanduel is a little iffy. I will throw him in at about 25-30% of my 25-cent GPPs, my quarter GPPs, but I don't see him as being someone that's going to be all over on the 100K, on this a 100K tournament. So, but Anthony Davis is definitely a fine play, and he is very, very much more appealing on DK for 11.8. You only need 58 there, and this is a guy that is averaging 63 and has 70, 80 point upside. His upside is through the ceiling, through the roof, so we know that. So AD is definitely in play for me. I'm not going to put him here. I'm going to come down, and I will jump on Kawhi Leonard, who's under $10,000 going up against Boston, which should be a nice competitive game, and as long as the game stays close. Just prior to me coming on, I understand that Marcus Smart is going to be available tonight to play. So I was going to mention that you could look at Jaylen Brown for some additional usage in minutes today, but now I guess that'll be split between the two as norm. But Kawhi Leonard, 9,800, man. You only need 48 to meet value here. He has been playing really, really good as of late. He's also had a couple of days rest, so he's ready to go. 73 spot, pretty much a 74 spot in this big game here against Washington his last time out. 3 out of his last 4 games, he has had 60 plus and pretty much 34 plus minutes pretty much per game. Well, let's go over to the Fantasy Cruncher. And we go to Kawhi here, Mr. Leonard. And as you can see, the usage rate is there, 27 to 28%. Shots through the roof, 18 to 19, pretty much on average. He's taking about 5 or 6 threes. You know what he brings to the table. He pretty much fills out the stat sheet. He's a pretty good free throw shooter, can get your rebounds. The assists are there, usually about 4 or 5 a game, pretty much on average. And he is able to defend. We know that. He has had 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 steals over the last 3 games and 17 over the last 5. So that's a lot of fantasy point totals additional that we love, and that's what we look for. And he's also had 3 blocks during that stretch as well. So Kawhi Leonard definitely in play for me, man. His home and away splits have been pretty darn good away. He's 48% field goal percentage, 41% from 3. He's shooting excellent from there, 27 points per game on average, and 47 fantasy point totals. He's played Boston already twice this year. 31 points, 31 points per game average, and 56 fantasy points pretty much per game during that stretch. He did have a 62 and a 47, so he's had good success against his team, and he was priced slightly below what his price tag is today at 9,800. I think he could definitely get 50 or better here. Should be able to meet value, and I personally feel he's going to exceed value because he's just going to want to go off against Kyrie. I can see him and Kyrie going at it today as well. So Kawhi Leonard in play for me. We'll punch him in here. Again, I always give you options here at DFS Zone. Other opportunities you may have at small forward that I think that you can go to. Joe Ingles, go to game time decision here. Could be someone you can consider here against the Clippers. Marichik is definitely someone that I'm intrigued with. I mentioned him the other day, expecting him to play over 30 minutes. Did not happen. He ended up playing 17 minutes or something like that, so that was a disappointment. Ended up being a busted play. This may be the day that they'll probably crank him up a little bit because it is a big game. It's going up against Golden State, and they can definitely use him, and he could definitely do very well against this team, considering the type of player he is. He's a perimeter shooter, good free throw shooter, good three-point shooter. So I could see him playing some more minutes today, but it's tough to gauge and put him in there. But he is an option at 5,800. There's no doubt about it, Mr. Marichik. Golden State is third in defending small forwards, and they've been allowing 28.3 fantasy points per game. And sorry, going back to Kawhi Leonard versus Boston, he's had great success in Boston. Boston is 10th in defending small forwards and allowing 26.5 fantasy points per game as a late, 0.8 fantasy points per minute. This is a good 1.1 fantasy point per minute player in Kawhi Leonard. So going back to Kawhi, I forgot to give you that stat. So I do like it. And the other thing I also want to point out, the last time Boston faced a top-tier small forward was back on December 25th on Christmas Day when they gave up 41 to Jimmy Butler. So they haven't faced somebody pretty good in a while, and they're going to get an opportunity tonight with Kawhi Leonard. So this is going back to Kawhi. Then going back to where I was at with Marichik. I mean, again, Marichik, Golden State, third defending small forwards, allowing 28.3 fantasy points per game. So there is an opportunity there for him. Rudy Gay is someone that I'm monitoring, so keep an eye on that as well. I think he would not be a bad play here at all at 5,500. He's got 40-point upside, so he is definitely someone that you can consider here. He is a game-time decision. Dallas is 12th in defending small forwards. They have been giving up 31.2 fantasy points per game as of the last 5 games. So he is 5,300 on DK. You need 26, and he's 5,500 here. So you need pretty much about 27. And the last time he played Dallas, this year, he played Dallas one game. He put up a 45 spot against them in 40 minutes. So, again, 40-point upside. Rudy Gay could be someone to consider. Already had one good game against Dallas. So keep monitoring that situation as far as the day progresses. Damari Carroll here versus Houston, 4,800. We're waiting for his minutes to come up. They were starting to climb up. Then he got re-injured, took a day or two off again. Now he's back, and the minutes are back up to about 31 minutes per game. So he could be someone to consider here as well. At 4,800 is a nice price tag, better price tag here than he is on DK. All right, on DK, he is 5,000, so you need 25. 4,800 here, you need 24. Houston's second in defending small forwards, and they've been allowing 21.7, nearly 22 fantasy points per game. So he's an option. Gerald Green, definitely an option, obviously, with no Clint Capella. Daniel House has been moved back. He's been sent back to the G League. They couldn't come to an agreement on a 10-day contract that they had with him to extend it. So as far as money's concerned, so I guess he was asking for more money. But Gerald Green now is going to get more bump in minutes and usage when he's on the floor. And then you also got to consider here Mr. Royce O'Neal, who's been starting since all the point guards have been hurt in Utah. He is definitely someone that's been getting a jump in minutes, getting a bump in minutes and time on the floor. So he's another one you got to consider here at 4,600. Bertans, if Gay comes back, he's going to get definitely he's going to go back to the bench, and he's going to find himself with less minutes and less usage. So not someone to consider. Rodney Hood could be another option here at 4,100 as well. All right, that's pretty much where I'm at there. So let's go back to the top, and let's go to point guards. And at point guard today, I'd be honest with you. You look at the top here, you got Lillard, you got Steph Curry, man. But this price tag for Kyrie Irving at 8,900 going at home against Toronto, and knowing how good Toronto is, they're going to need him to step up. I do like Mr. Irving here today. So Kyrie Irving is the guy I'm going with here. And when we look at Kyrie, open up his thing, pretty much solid guy, man. 22 points, 4 rebounds, pretty much 6 assists, 41.8 fantasy points per game. You need at 8,900, you need about 44, and he is 8,600 on DK. You need 43. He's averaging 42. And as you can see here, the last couple of games, 37 or better in 3 out of the last 4 games that he's played. He had the one game off that he did not play. And I think he's going to come in here ready to go, man. He's going to be ready to go. I mean, we come and take a look a little bit further on his usage and everything else, and we know he is the man there as far as offensively. The minutes are going to be there, 30-plus minutes pretty much per game. His usage rate is going to be at about 28, 29% on average, nearly 30% most of the time, and he's going to get about 16 to 17 shots, maybe even as much as 18 shots per game. And he'll take some threes. He'll get 3 or 4 threes per game. He gets to the foul line. He's pretty good free throw shooter. Doesn't get there as often, but as you can see in this particular game here against Orlando, he got to the foul line and got 13 shots. So that's really a day that they really he was pretty aggressive in getting into the paint. As far as rebounds, he'll get some assists, of course, and of course he brings a little defense. Look at the steals: 3, 4, 5, 7, pretty much about 9 or 10 steals over the last 5 games and 2 blocks. So, and of course he brings a double-digit scoring. You're going to get that from Kyrie. Kyrie fills up the stat sheet. Very, very good player. He's going up. His home and away splits have been pretty awesome, man. Really good. 17 games this year at home. 53% field goal percentage, 46% from 3, averaging 23.5 points per game and 44 fantasy points. Versus Toronto, 2 games this year, he pretty much has shot 61% against them in the 2 games, 44% from 3, 32 points per game, and 54 fantasy points on average between the 2 games combined. So Kyrie is ready to go. I think he is a good play here. Versus Toronto, they're 6th in defending point guards and allowing 30.6 fantasy points per game as of late, and slightly over 1 fantasy point per minute, which is definitely area of concern for Toronto with Kyrie, because he is more than a 1 fantasy point per minute player. Not so long ago, D'Angelo Russell put up 46, Trae Young 34, Bledsoe 33. So Kyrie, with his usage, minutes, the amount of shots he takes, and what he brings to the table as his team leader, I definitely think he's going to be just fine today. So Kyrie Irving in play for me as my top point guard. If you're looking to pay down at point, I'd be honest with you, I am not liking anybody else other than Mr. Derek White here at 6,100. His price tag has come up, but Derek White has been solid for the San Antonio Spurs going up against Dallas. You need 61 from him there. You need 30. And on DK, he's 5,800. You need 28. He's averaging 21, but he has been pretty solid over the last few games. As far as minutes are concerned, he's getting them. As far as his ability to get at least 30 or more fantasy points at this price tag, he can definitely do it as well. He's going up against Dallas. They're 19th in defending point guards and allowing 40.2 fantasy points per game. So he's in a good, favorable matchup where he should be able to do fine, where there's no Dennis Smith Jr. Obviously, Dennis Smith Jr. is like on the rumors are he's in the process of possibly being traded. So Dennis Smith Jr. is definitely out of play. That means Jalen Brunson is going to be a value play today, and I think Jalen Brunson is really cheap today. Alfred Payne could be someone to consider at 5,600 in this game against Golden State. I know there's an opportunity there. It's just a little inconsistent as far as minutes and as far as shots. He's not getting as many shots as he was getting earlier in the year when he was playing. So I'm concerned with that. I'd rather roll with Derek White. Come down here a little bit further. There are some guys with game time decisions. That's why I already mentioned Smith is more than likely out of this rotation for this team because he's being considered someone to be traded. Van Fleet, game time decision, definitely keep that in mind. I will definitely bump out Lowry, but Lowry's had very bad success against Boston. I would not go Lowry, but then again, he may go out there today and put up 50. Colin Sexton could be someone to consider at 4,900. I think you should definitely keep an eye on him. If you wanted to come down a little lower, you could pay up. Portland is giving up an enormous amount of fantasy point totals to point guards. They are 30th in defending power point guards thus far this year and allowing 37.7 fantasy points per game as of late. So Sexton could be someone to consider here. He is also priced fairly well on DK. He's 4,400 there, so you need 22 to meet value. Over here, you need 24. And like I said, the next guy, Forbes is always someone to consider because he plays massive minutes. For 4,300, he is worth the price tag to take a shot at him. He is capable of getting 30 or better, so he is someone you might consider, but I definitely like Mr. Smith more. And always in consideration is Patty Mills because he is a good 1 fantasy point per minute player. So definitely consider him in that drop spot. And the drop spot for the day has got to be Jalen Brunson. I mean, he's more than likely going to start again. And when he did start not so long ago, he was starting on a regular basis when Dennis Smith was truly hurt and gone for a while. He basically did fairly well. And so he's at 3,700, very respectable price. He's right there pretty much bare minimum. So again, definitely someone to consider. This Wanamaker here, he came through, for Boston not so long ago with Rozier the other day, which was a surprise. So I guess keep an eye on him. I know some people are going to be watching him a little more closely now. Cameron Payne for Cleveland. I believe he's on a 10-day contract. He could be someone to consider. He's probably almost winding down that 10-day contract. I can see him getting some minutes here. Like I already mentioned, Portland gives up quite a bit of fantasy point totals to opposing point guards, so he's definitely someone to consider. We go over to shooting guard. And at shooting guard at the top, we got James Harden, who's been just a true savage. So, I mean, again, at 14,000, you need quite a bit of fantasy points from him. It's not like he can't get it done, but I am not going to pay 14,000 for him here. Donovan Mitchell is still in play. I think I will have some sprinkle of Donovan Mitchell in today. Slate. He's 9,000. His price tag's coming up, but again, he's doing a whole lot right now. He has to, so we know, granted, that's going to happen. His price tag will go up at 9,000. You need 45. He's going up against the Clippers. They have been vulnerable back there. No, it doesn't matter who's back there. They were once considered a good backcourt as far as defensively, defending against opposition, but now as of late, it's just not that good. So Donovan Mitchell should do well there. I do love Luka Doncic here, and I'm going to pencil him in there at the shooting guard spot. This kid, man, 19 years old, is just truly amazing, man. God bless the kid. The kid is absolutely an incredible basketball player. He's doing so much for this team in his first year in the league. He's just blowing my mind, to be totally honest with you. 20 points, pretty much almost 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Look at that. He balances out this stat sheet very, very lovely. 36.7 fantasy points per game, 8,700. You need 44, and on DK, 84. You need 8,400 for him on DK. You need 42. He's averaging 37, but he definitely has 50-point upside. He even can get you close to 60. He's done that already once. He's had 4 straight games at 26 or better as far as floor points. 26, 29, 30, and 27. He is red hot right now. Let's go over to him in the cruncher. And Mr. Doncic, as you can see, numbers are beautiful. 44 or better in 3 out of the 4. The minutes are there, 32 or better per game. His usage is over 30% for a rookie. That is absolutely nuts. All right, and look at the shots. Over the last 4 games, his shot selection was 14 or 15 pretty much a game, and now as of late, it's more like 16 or 17, maybe even as much as 18 shots per game. He is a very, very big piece of the puzzle here for the Dallas Mavericks as far as offensively. He is the man. 3-point shooting, he's taking his shots there as well. 6 to 7 or more pretty much per game. He gets to the foul line. He does everything. This comes to show you the stat sheet. This game log is absolutely bananas. 5 of 8, 7 of 10. He shoots fairly well from the foul line as well. He can get you rebounds and assists. Turned over the ball quite a bit in the last game, but he'll get you those steals. He's been able to do that on a consistent basis. 5 straight games with at least 1 steal a game, and he'll get you the occasional block. But I love the kid. These numbers are just absolutely beautiful. So Mr. Doncic is in play, man. His home and away split's fantastic. In 20 games at home, at 20 games at home this season, 46% field goal percentage, 36% from 3, 21 points per game and 40 fantasy points per game at home. He's been absolutely great for a rookie. That is just outstanding. 1 game versus San Antonio. They played each other 1 time this year. He shot 61% in that game from the floor, 11 of 18, and 67% from 3. Took 6 threes and hit 4 of them, and had 31 points from the floor and 50 fantasy points. So Luka Doncic is definitely someone I really do like here today. So Doncic is in play. We'll add him here to the list. Again, you can mix match any of the ones that I speak about, that I mentioned on the video. Luka Doncic is not the only one. As always, you're going to always get some more. I do think that we have to be on the lookout. Down here a little bit further, this is funny here, guys. Patrick McCaw was just signed by Toronto. Can you believe that Fanduel? I mean, come on, Fanduel. What's going on with you guys? 7,500. I mean, do you guys know something we do not know as DFS players? Because Patrick McCaw only has played 3 games this year in minimal minutes. As you can see here, I have to just go over this because when I seen this morning, I was like dumbfounded. Guy has played 3 games here, 16, 17, and 18 minutes, have not had anything near a 30-point game, and he is priced here at 7,500. Do these guys know something we do not know? That is really bizarre. So that, I mean, there's no way we would take Patrick McCaw over Thompson, Middleton, McCollum, any of these guys here that have been playing for their teams respectively for weeks and weeks and weeks and playing, more than enough minutes. So that is definitely got to be some sort of a typo. All right, but I found that very funny. We come down a little bit. You got Klay Thompson, Middleton, we got McCollum. All these guys, some of these guys are in play. I like McCollum here against Cleveland. I think he could be a very sneaky play here. I do love Lou Will here. 6,500 versus Utah. Donovan Mitchell is playing the point. He's going to go up against Royce O'Neal. I could see him tearing up a little Royce O'Neal. Lou Will be a nice play. I think he'll be a nice play here. Someone that we definitely should consider. What we have here, Utah is 11th in defending shooting guards, allowing 21 fantasy points per game. But again, not bad. Lou Will is capable of getting you 40 or better. He is very dangerous when he's hot. 6,500, you need about 32. and he's 6,100 on DK. Come down a little further. Watch out for the news for Eric Gordon, because that's going to hurt a little bit Mr. James Harden. That's one of the reasons why I would not take Harden today, especially if Eric Gordon plays, because he gets quite a bit of that usage as well, and he gets his shots as well. Jordan Clarkson has been slumping a little bit, so I kind of like Mr. Alec Burks, who's been shooting and playing well as of late at 5,500. He is definitely someone to consider. He's going up against Portland. Now, granted, C.J. McCollum is a better defender than Damian Lillard. Portland is 10th in defending shooting guards, but they have allowed 24.2 fantasy points per game. But what I like about Burks is his minutes up, and 3 out of his last 4 games he has put up 32 fantasy points or better, and he has played 27 to as much as 32 minutes during the course of that span. So Mr. Burks could be someone to consider. Another guy to consider because of the massive minutes is Austin Rivers. He's 5,000. You need 25. He's 5,400 on DK, so you need pretty much 27. You need 27 there, and you need about 25 here on DK on Fanduel. So he's not a bad price here. If he can get the points, it will be great, but he does play 36 plus minutes, and pretty much 8 out of his last 9 games he's played 36 minutes or better, and 4 out of his last 7 games he's at least put 25 or better, which is his lowest fantasy point total. As you can see, his average is 17, so he is trending upward. Danny Green, definitely like Danny Green. I think it'd be a very sneaky play here against Boston. We know he's a great defender, can get steals. 4,900 for Danny Green. Not bad at all, man. 31 plus in the last. He's had 31 plus in 2 straight games, and he has 2 games against Boston. He has put up a 23 and 29 spot this year. At 4,009, you need pretty much 24. On DK, he's 4,600. You need 23. He's averaging 21, so he's priced just about right. And he's going up against a team that is 3rd defending shooting guards and allowing 26.3 fantasy points per game. But he is a guy that's got 40. Like I said, he's capable of getting you 30 to 35 fantasy point totals. I think he could be a very sneaky play. Marcus Smart, as we already know, I already said prior to doing the video, I got the notification Marcus Smart is available to play today. Will he start? I do not know, but I would think he will, okay, against Toronto. And, of course, you got to consider Jaylen Brown if you wanted to. Kyle Korver, very sneaky play here as well. We know the situation. Kyle Korver has been getting minutes. Obviously, we know the situation in Utah. So him and Royce O'Neal have been getting the bump in usage in minutes. So Kyle Korver at 4,000, you need 20. Could be someone to consider here as well. All right, let's go over to power forward. At power forward today, as you already know, I already told you. Oh, we already discussed. Yeah, no, at power forward, we discussed small forward. At power forward, we have Anthony Davis at the top. I already told you I will have exposure to Anthony Davis. I love his price on DK, 11,008. You need pretty much 58. He's definitely someone you should consider on DK if you're a DK player. I do believe on Yahoo he's a good price as well. But Anthony Davis here, a little too pricey on FanDuel, but I think in the quarter GPPs, if you make multiple lineups there shouldn't be no reason why you don't squeeze him in on a lineup or two. I think he is definitely someone to consider here, absolutely. So he is one of the guys that he will be in at least 20-25% of my lineups. Other than that, LaMarcus Aldridge stands out as someone that I do have an interest in today against Dallas. I think he should do fairly well here as well. But I'm going to come down to Aaron Gordon. I kind of like Aaron Gordon here at this price tag. We know he's capable of getting 50. He's pretty much high 45, 50 when he's on. And he brings a little bit to the table, a little bit of everything. You know, he's capable of scoring. He can get rebounds. He can get you some assists, and he'll get you those blocks and steals. So Aaron Gordon, 7,500, he's averaging 16 points, pretty much 7 rebounds. Like I said, 3 assists, 32.5 fantasy points per game. He's at 7,500, you need 36, and on DK, he's 7K, you need 35. And that's, pretty close to what his average is. And on top of that, he's been, last 2 games, 42 and 42. So he's had 2 straight games at 42 plus. His minutes are 33 minutes or more per game, which is definitely something that I always look for. I like to see the minutes, and the minutes are there. He's getting 35 minutes or more pretty much per game. His usage rate is up there as well. He's at about 22-23% on average, and as you can see, as of late, 25 to as much as 30%. So he's even being utilized a lot more when he's on the floor, and he's being pretty efficient. 8 of 15, 7 of 14. He's getting about 14 or 15 shots on average per game. He's shooting a couple of threes, about 4 or 5 on average, it looks like here. And then his free throws, he's get to the foul line. He can definitely shoot the free throw very well. He brings you the rebounding. He can get you some assists, and then he brings a little bit of defense. Got 2 steals in the last game, a block prior to that, so he can get you the occasional steal and block. 7,500, I don't think that's not a bad play for this guy. And on top of that, he has done fairly well against Detroit. 53 last year in the final game against them, 44 and 41 respectively this year. The usage rate is actually slightly higher now, and the minutes are about almost the same. He's getting about the same amount of shots. If he just buries 45-50% of his shots for the usage and the time that he's on the floor, he should do fine. He should be able to get 45-50 today. I think he's a really good, safe play here against Detroit. Versus Detroit, 2 games this year, 50% shooting. You know, he shot 50% in those 2 games, he averaged 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 18 points, and 43 fantasy points per game. So I think that trend continues, and I think he has an opportunity to maybe even get 50 in this game. So Aaron Gordon, a little athletic. I kind of like him here at that price tag. Not a whole lot that I love here because a lot of these guys here today, like Draymond Green, they are in tough matchups. Siakam, you know, going up against Boston. Boston players going up against Toronto. Front court players, it's going to be tough. Siakam could be a nice play as well. We come down here. We're going to go a little bit cheaper at power forward the rest of the way. And I think when you want to look at getting a little bit cheaper, Marcus Morris may stand out as someone, but he's going up against Siakam, maybe some Ibaka. I am not too high on that. I definitely like Boston with Kyrie Irving more so. But P.J. Tucker, with the amount of minutes and knowing that there's no Capella, he's going to have to play a little bit more. He's going to have to rebound. I mean, rebounding is going to have to come from guys like P.J. Tucker for these guys, for the Houston Rockets. I also like here Mr. JaMychal Green. Definitely, if his minutes go up to about 25-30, I definitely like him, especially also if Marc Gasol is out. They're going to need somebody. They need a big body. He's a big body, athletic. I can see him getting a bump in usage and minutes today. If Gasol is out, I definitely like Mr. JaMychal Green. So P.J. Tucker, JaMychal Green, Tucker at 49, you need 24. He's 47 on DK, you need 23. And Brooklyn is number 1 in defending power forwards, but they have allowed in the last 6 games 36.5 fantasy points per game. So again, there's an opportunity for Tucker to at least get close to value and maybe just slightly exceed it. JaMychal Green, like I said, I love him so much more. He'll definitely be somebody that you have to consider if Marc Gasol is definitely out. So I will love him more if Gasol is out. He's 4,700. You need 23. To me, value on DK, he's slightly a little bit higher, $200 more at 24, averaging 23. Milwaukee's 27th in defending power forwards, and they've been allowing 30.3 fantasy points per game as of late. And another guy that I like is the right guy right underneath him, both of these guys as well, Karooks as well as Kleber. I think Kleber here, 4,600. You need 23, and 4,600 also on DK. Definitely a better price. Fanduel being 4,600, but 26 plus in his last 3 games as far as fantasy point totals. And versus San Antonio is 4th in defending power forwards, allowing 32 fantasy points per game. So he is in a good spot here as well versus San Antonio. So I like Kleber, I like Green, and I like Tucker here in his bottom range and bottom level here. And then also there's always some sneaky guys here. Powell plays. He's pretty good. If he gets 18 to 20 minutes, can get you 18 to 20. You got guys like Birch here. He can do the same for Orlando. Plays 16, 17, 18 minutes, can get you 1 fantasy point per minute. Zach Collins is capable at times to get 20 minutes, 22 minutes, and get you more than 25 fantasy points. So there are some guys here that you can actually come down to and pay for. Even Jonas Jerebko as well. We go over to center. And at center today, center was a tough one today. You got Rudy Gobert at the top, and like I told you way back when the whole injury news came out about all the players being hurt for the point guard position for Utah, I told you guys, Gobert last year played so well with Donovan Mitchell as the point, and it's already starting to happen again. He is playing so well. Rudy Gobert, I will have 30%. He is the best center option, at least in my opinion today, just due to the fact that the Clippers are pretty poor up front. But not only that, is that Rudy Gobert with Donovan Mitchell, they are feeding him, and actually all the easy baskets he gets definitely opens up the doors, especially when they get out on transition. He is very, very good with that. So Rudy Gobert at 9,900, definitely someone I like. Clippers 24th in defending centers, allowing 39.5 fantasy points per game and 1.32 fantasy points per minute. And this is a guy here that's pretty much a good 1.1, 1.2 fantasy point per minute player. So Rudy Gobert should be able to definitely smash value here. He is at the highest point of the in salary thus far this year. I never would envision Gobert being at around 10,000, but he is there, and it's all due to, and this is all to them having those injuries, him needing to be utilized a lot more. So Rudy Gobert that trend is going to continue. Him and Donovan should do well here. 9,900, definitely like him. there at 9,900. He is 8,500 on DK. You only need 43 to meet value there. So he is definitely a nice play on DK as well. Other than that, you can go with any one of these two guys battling one another. Any one of the two can get 50 or better on one another. They're not both good defending centers. So, but I do like Vucevic a lot better than I like Drummond. He brings a little bit more skill set to the table. He can shoot threes. He can hit from the floor. He's a good free throw shooter, and he can rebound and do all the other things. Drummond's more a better rebounder, good putback player. That's where I see him being the strongest at. Vucevic brings just a little bit more skill set for $300 more. Now, the beauty of it for Drummond is if you go with Drummond, he is at home and he actually shoots a little bit better at home. Vucevic, granted, plays better at home just like most people do. But again, I think the matchup, Vucevic is definitely a better matchup. If you wanted to come down, you could consider Randall at 7,800. I'm really watching this Marc Gasol thing because if Marc Gasol is out, like I already said before, you could definitely start attack. You can consider Brook Lopez against that Memphis team with no Marc Gasol. I mean, so that would be interesting because then that means Mr. Joakim Noah is going to probably start. And I think Brook Lopez taking Noah out to the actual open floor is going to be a better opportunity for Brook Lopez because, Brook Lopez can get rebounds, but he's more of a perimeter three-point shooting center. So I like him there at 5,400. He could be a nice little steal play there. And Jared Allen is definitely in play for me. He's going to be on here simply because he's going against Houston. There's no Clint Capella. He's going to go up against Nene. Nene's, you could actually go with Nene if you wanted to, but Nene's 3,800 or something. Okay, you got Noah that you can go with at 3,900. You got Nene at 3,800. I don't think either one of these guys are going to play more than 25 minutes, to be honest with you. And Nene's been only playing at least 20 minutes or less. And I think Jared Allen is definitely in a good spot here against these guys. Jared Allen, Houston is fourth in defending centers, allowing 34.2 fantasy points per game over the last 3 or 4 games, and that's due to the fact that obviously they don't have Clint Capella there. So Jared Allen has actually played well. Is that 3 or 4 games? What he's at, 3 or 4 games? Let me click on him. I think he's played 3 or 4 games in a row now where he's done fairly well, but he's faced teams that have weak centers. Boston, Toronto, Atlanta, probably with an injury, put up 28. And Boston again. So he's going to get an opportunity. The last 2 games, Toronto and Boston, today he got a team with no Clint Capella. He's going to see Nene. Nene is a banger, but he is a little bit more athletic. He's younger. I think Jared Allen will be just fine. Jared Allen, to me, is the best possible play here. If you want to pay down, like I said, I am willing to pay up, and I will have exposure to Rudy Gobert. Other than that, like I said, Marc Gasol out. You definitely got to attack Brook Lopez, so you could consider him. Al Horford versus Toronto with possibly against Ibaka. Yeah, I could see you guys going that way. Some people are probably going to be on Tristan Thompson. I don't know. Nurkic to me, is one of the better defending centers in the league. He plays minimal minutes. He could definitely be a 1.2 fantasy point per minute player, but Tristan Thompson, that's a tough matchup for him, in my opinion. So, again, the play here is Rudy Gobert. If you're not on Gobert, I think you should definitely pay down a little bit and get Mr. Vucevic. If you're not on Vucevic, then you should consider Lopez if there's no Gasol, or you go after Mr. Jared Allen versus Nene. And I'm going with Jared Allen just to make sure I have somebody on the screen. And at the power forward spot, we could go, you see, if I throw in there Anthony Davis, it's going to leave us with 3,100. So I can't throw Anthony Davis in there, but I will have exposure, and I will have him in some of my quarter lineups because I know I can fit him in. But we're going to go with Aaron Gordon there. And it leaves you with 4,650. There will be a couple of values that I did mention already, some guys that are pretty much fairly cheap. Guys like Jalen Brunson you can throw in here. It goes down the line. But again, that's pretty much where I'm at, ladies and gentlemen. So I wish you guys a lot of luck. That'll be it pretty much for the video. Wish you luck tonight, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video.